Today's episode of Still Untitled, The Adam Savage Project, is brought to you by Wix.com. Do you need a website? Why not do it yourself with Wix.com? No matter what business you're in, you can get your site live today. With hundreds of templates and easy drag and drop features, it's simple to customize and there's no coding needed. You don't need to be a programmer or designer to create something beautiful. Go to Wix.com and create your own stunning website. It's easy and free.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Skillshare, where you can explore thousands of online classes in design, photography, business, and more. Learn from the world's best teachers and join a learning community of over 1 million creators. Learn at your own pace by watching classes on your own schedule. You can even share your work and collaborate with students from around the world too. With real projects and feedback from the Skillshare community, it's like being in a real class but on your own time. Classes can even be watched offline with the Skillshare mobile apps on both Apple and Android devices. Go to Skillshare.com and get 3 free months with the discount code Untitled at checkout for new customers. Thanks.
Today, sorry for the double ads today. We were actually doing 2 today because we missed an episode a few weeks ago, so we had to do some make goods for the wonderful advertisers that support the show. And now, on with the podcast. Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project. I'm Will.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Norm.
So, as I was saying, I got this tent for the roof rack of my Land Cruiser.
Yes.
As one does.
Just because I'm like kind of obsessed and I think camping a lot these days, I was thinking, one of the standard things in science fiction books is people visit other planets and they set up perimeter alarms.
Yeah.
Right. That's a standard science fiction trope.
You put the stakes in the ground, and then
lasers.
They call them whalers or hailers or something.
The salt-sucking monster comes up, and the alarm goes off.
Right.
5 feet tall.
So I did a search on eBay. Perimeter alarm. Turns out there's like 20 different companies that make exactly this.
Is it just a bunch of stakes with strings and cans hanging off?
There are several different versions. There are tripwires which use little party poppers.
Okay.
As the tripwires, and you can buy those, right? So you could basically drive eye bolts into the ground, set up monofilament with little party poppers. But then there are also electronic tripwires that will pull a pin and make a thing go woo, woo. And then there's motion alarms that you can point outwards from your campsite that will let you know when beasties are approaching.
It's like made for 12-year-olds with tree houses.
Exactly.
It seems like the kind of thing that would make you really super duper crazy if you used it in the real world.
Yeah, totally.
Because like if you're in someplace with leaves,
right,
and wind, motion sensors, not going to be so great.
No, this reminds me, we were doing a hot water heater. I know, hot water heaters are redundant. We were doing water heater explosions through 2 floors of a house a few years ago up at Altamont landfill. And we brought in a ballistics expert who had ballistic tracking technology. A machine that would be able to watch something take off and track exactly its flight path, its speed, its trajectory, and where it lands.
It's like the bullet path.
Yeah, and this could do it with a bullet, so we figured it should be easy with a water heater. And the only problem was all the spinning windmills around us made the machine not be able to read anything.
Oh, man, I didn't even think about that.
Yes, neither did they.
I was expecting you to say shrapnel or something was the problem.
No shrapnel problems.
But you're going to test this tent.
I'm going to test this tent. It's really exciting. I love this idea. It's basically a really big double wide tent. So when it's all unfolded, it's 10 feet long and 5 feet wide.
Okay.
It's got a mattress built in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Like you hit a button and it inflates?
No. It's a foam mattress.
It just rolls up.
Right. So it doesn't even roll up. The whole package is 7 inches thick when it's folded and zippered.
And it just lives on the roof of your car.
And lives on the roof. So you unzipper it. You pull out the ladder. Use the ladder to extend the floor pan. And the ladder is the other stand of the other half of the floor pan, which is like aircraft aluminum, the honeycomb. And it's big and roomy with a big rain fly.
Nice.
Does that mean you also have a
running water?
spot?
Yes. Yes, you do end up
composting toilet.
You end up with a shade spot, and you can, if you want, purchase an extra curtain that goes from the exterior floor pan down to the ground as a shower or an extra
the vestibule.
tent. Yeah,
Made specifically for
foyer.
your car model?
No, they make these for there's probably a dozen different makers of these kind of tents. I got this one. It's one of the lightest ones made, and also one of the lowest. Like it's only 7 inches tall total.
Why does weight matter if you're just going to keep it on top of
Weight doesn't matter. It's just easier for me to put it up if it doesn't weigh 100 pounds.
I'm so the tent I've been most interested in for the last, let's say, year and a half, 2 years since I knew it existed, are the tree hammock tents.
Oh yeah,
The ones that you put between 3 trees, and then you basically have come-alongs on all the ends. You cinch it up really tight, and then it's like a trampoline in there.
Yeah.
I really, really, really want to try one of those. And they sell them at REI, but they're like $1,000, maybe $700. They're really expensive.
that is a rough price.
It is it's like
We should think about making one.
I don't know if I trust us that much.
Do you need to find the exact configuration of tree?
The rigging is trivial.
No, I'm not worried about the rigging. I'm worried about getting the nylon seams and stuff on the bottom strong enough that it doesn't.
But really, that's
don't
just,
sag.
it's really just again, though, if your rigging is integral, the nylon's just a bag that dresses the rigging.
I guess that's true.
You don't have to make the nylon load bearing. It literally is just, it's sandwiched between I haven't looked at their design.
I think that what they do is have a nylon. I think they have a nylon mesh that has a crisscross, and then the floor is a probably non-flexible material
Right.
that is sewn into that, so that when you pull it tight.
Are there poles?
No. You know what? I think you're right. I think that the structure for above are probably fiberglass or carbon fiber poles.
I tell you, the aluminum poles were the latest Marmot tent that I bought. It's mind blowing. Like they make these alloys that are like bubble gum. You can't believe how much they can bend.
The thing I've always said is that when you buy camping gear that's really nice like expensive backpacking, lightweight camping gear, you're buying material science. It's like 3 to 5 years in the future.
Yeah.
Because those guys are always, it's like the hair product people are always right on the forefront.
Yeah,
of
totally.
like, we got some crazy stuff coming here. This might give you cancer, but your hair is going to look cool.
This might give you cancer, but your hair is going to look cool. We should register that as a domain.
I can do that right now.
I wanted to talk about Ahmed.
Yeah, clocks.
Clocks, man.
Look, we have a
Clocks.
potential bomb right here on the table.
Yes, this is an old Elgin, train bomb or clock. Bomb, clock, however you want to describe
it's 6
it.
of 1. They all look the same to me.
I was a little late to the Ahmed train. I didn't know that it was happening. I had seen the headline on Metafilter the night before last. Yeah, the night before last.
We're recording this on Friday morning.
Yeah, and then yesterday morning, it all came crashing through. I started seeing it on the Twitter feed, and I got several emails. My son even emailed me, "Hey, you should tweet about that Ahmed kid if you haven't already."
I saw it on Wednesday night and was like, this can't possibly be the whole story, because sometimes you see these things and it's like somebody's good at social media and like there's another side to the story that maybe you're not getting all of. Okay. I don't think that's the case this time.
Well, so let's go through, because if you're on the internet listening to this and somehow you've missed it, which would be astonishing.
I think it's possible though, because we live in a circle filled with people who make stuff, and
it's true.
They were especially offended by this.
Ahmed is a 12-year-old kid,
14-year-old, ninth grader.
Ninth grader,
Irving, Texas.
In Texas, who hand-built an electronic clock as a project.
I've done that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is actually most people's first electronics project.
Yeah.
It is a common. One of the things I love about the Twitter response is all these people posting their original wiring diagrams for their first digital clock.
You go to the Maker Shed at Maker Faire, and they have tons of kits for that.
And he brought it to school. And he brought it to school. He was apparently telling everyone, I'm making a clock. And he brought it to school and he showed it to his teachers. And the response, I think what I heard was one of the teachers, the science teacher said.
His engineering teacher
said, this is great, but don't show it to anyone else.
Yeah.
And then another teacher saw it and the police were called because they thought it looked like a bomb. And the police came and they took this sweet, scrawny 14-year-old kid out of the school in freaking handcuffs.
Put him in a room and interrogated him for 45 minutes to an hour.
Well, also his account that one of the officers walked in, saw him, and said, "Yep, that's who I thought it was."
Right, ridiculous.
So I can't imagine what kind of amazing bastard you have to be to look at this scrawny 14-year-old nerd
Wearing a NASA t-shirt.
Wearing a NASA shirt.
Yes.
Okay, Ahmed, if you're listening, scrawny here is a marker for how harmless you totally are. We were all scrawny.
I'll post some pictures. When I was your age, when I was 19, I weighed the better part of 122 pounds.
Wet.
And was 6 feet, the same height I am right now.
Oh my God.
So that is a literal 100-pound difference.
You must have seemed like a particularly dim adult.
I had the hole underneath your rib cage because there was just nothing there.
Right, the nanobots hadn't finished building you.
Basically, no body fat at all. I sank like a rock.
So we don't mean scrawny as any type of insult. We heart Ahmed, and the story went massive.
Yeah, partly due to the photo. Anil Dash, Ahmed's sister, took a photo of Ahmed with the most amazing expression on his face, being led out of the school. So you don't see the policeman who's escorting him, but you do see a security guard or a policeman in the background scowling. Yeah, and you're clearly like in the office of his school, as in the narrative in my mind, and the look he's giving the camera is this. What the hell is going on? Yeah, seriously? And then at the end of the article, at the end of the first article, the police announced that they're still debating whether or not to charge him for making a hoax bomb, which is a serious crime.
Okay. And absolute nonsense.
Wait, because they said, well, he did tell everyone who would listen that it was a clock, and we have that everyone heard it was a clock, but he couldn't provide a wider context for why it was a clock. And it was
what does that even mean?
I don't understand.
I mean, is this Orwellian Texas? Is it a different place?
You know, look, I think the thing is
how dare you build your own clock?
I don't know if you saw the pictures of it, but it is in a briefcase. It has a great big screen.
Looks like an Apple One.
It is a
It looks exactly like.
I mean,
an
you
Apple
saw the
One.
picture. You saw the picture that somebody posted. It's the famous picture of Jobs and Wozniak. Yeah, and it's like, look, it's another person of Middle Eastern descent.
Clearly making
some bombs. They're working on Apple IIs.
Yeah. The most satisfying thing is that the story went completely massive across the whole country, and by the middle of yesterday, Obama had tweeted, "Nice clock. Do you want to bring it by the White House?
Cool clock, Ahmed.
Cool, yeah.
That's how I'm introducing him. I'm just saying, hey, cool clock, Adam. What's up? That's the new way of saying hello.
That's the new way of laying down the presidential acceptance."
Yeah.
And I corresponded a little bit with Anil Dash, who's been running interference for the family, and he said the response has been tremendously positive. Which is very heartening.
Really nice.
Really, really heartening. This is exactly the kind of story that we need to kind of remind ourselves, I think, that not to give in to this idea of like brown people with clocks is bad or some type of Islamophobia that is just ludicrous.
Well, and I know, I mean, one of the things that Anil posted the other day actually is that the temptation is to think, hey, this is a Texas problem.
Right.
And then he said, look, here are 5 other instances where stuff just as ridiculous happened in places that aren't Texas and that you would think of as not having, Southern, here's the thing. I'm from the South. There is a perception in the country that racism is a Southern thing,
right?
And it is absolutely untrue.
It's totally untrue.
I mean, it's probably more prevalent in places.
I've known many people of color who said they trust Southerners more because at least they're honest about the racism when it exists.
Predictable and the rural, poor, scary conservative. Those are the 3 markers.
Right. The MIT student who was arrested, I think at Logan Airport for wearing the shirt with blinky LEDs wired into it.
Well, or the Aqua, what was it? Aqua Teen Hunger Force thing in 2008.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
2007, where they
posted the
they built the LED things and stuck them on bridges in Boston, and they thought that shut down the city for the day.
It's also overall a gross, outside of the racial stuff, a gross misunderstanding and underestimating of what technology is today and what makers can do today.
Yeah. It really is. And again, it's like movies have informed a lot of this.
Yeah.
Our perception of what bombs should look like. Everyone's living in 24.
My favorite thing was that a bomb disposal expert from a local police department popped up on my Facebook. And the quote was like, look, you have to be the worst bomb maker in the world to make a bomb that needs a circuit board to detonate. Like, why would you even bother?
And Oh God, yeah. I mean, hold on. I had a point. The one of the things I've been seeing on Twitter that I find really shocking is all of these white people saying, "Oh yeah, a couple of years ago in high school, I actually made a thing called a fake bomb, and a little flame came out of it, and I got an A in my science class."
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, or there was a story that went around a few years ago about a kid that made a working fission reactor.
Right.
And like he was encouraged.
Yeah.
His parents moved him to a school where he could learn about that stuff, and they said, "Hey, go do this. It's a great idea."
Look, all of this is to say the plural of anecdote. It is not evidence.
No.
But the idea of a 14-year-old kid who is doing everything right. Mm-hmm. He's indulging his passion. He is exploring a new field for him, electronics. He is building something. He's making something.
And he's proud of it.
Proud of it.
He wants to share
this
it.
Is everyone he told it was a clock. This is somebody who is really, really going down the right path. You want to encourage this kid. You want to give him all that you can. And all kids like him, you want to encourage to go do what they're doing. Not be afraid, oh, if I build something electronic that looks like something from a movie that someone could misconstrue, even though my intent is completely clear, I could still get charged with a fucking felony.
I'd be suspended from school, have to change schools probably.
Right.
Yeah, it's a huge mess up.
It is a huge mess up, and one to which the response seems almost universally correct.
Oh, did you see the response from the school system? The note that they sent out to parents?
I did.
I mean, it was laughable.
I know.
Hey guys, we're keeping your kids safe.
I know.
We're working every day to keep your kids safe.
Ish.
And this is a great opportunity to talk to your kids about narking on their students who make clocks.
That's right.
And also look at our prohibited list of items in the school, which I guess now includes clocks.
Wires.
Oh, is it wires?
I don't know. Wires are very dangerous.
Wires do look scary.
Wires can
Multicolored
carry
wires
stuff.
with the red. It's got a red and a blue.
Yeah, don't cut the blue wire.
So Jeremy is working on an electronics project right now for us that we're going to use potentially during the stage show at the end of
nice.
October. And we originally were going to make it really nice and clean, so it looked like it was a real professional job. But I think now we're going to make it like a raw dog circuit board with a bunch of wires dangling off, and it's going to be as crunchy as we can make it.
So Ahmed, this is an open invitation to come on Still Untitled. Come out to San Francisco when you can. We'll give you a tour of the cave. It is an unholy mess right now. But
Let's make clocks.
Yeah, we could make some clocks.
Making
here.
clocks with Ahmed.
We could.
It's our new show.
It's making clocks with Ahmed. Yes.
I think this is going to place wrap this up.
I wanted to talk.
Let's talk about Redshirts. We have some time.
Yes, we have some time. We have all read the wonderful John Scalzi novel Redshirts. Mm-hmm. Is this a semi-spoiler cast?
I think at this point, let's make it. I like this new. I like the idea.
We can talk generally, and then we'll have a switch point.
And then we say, hey, don't go past.
All right.
But
so
Redshirts, you can't spoil.
Redshirts is hard to spoil, although
there's a point where there is
the primary conceit is lovely, and I found quite genuinely warmly surprising. So
gratifying on its own, yeah.
So Scalzi is a renowned science fiction author, New York Times bestseller. He's written books like Old Man's War and The Android's Dream.
Agent to the Stars,
which I still haven't read, but I've been plowing through Scalzi this week, this last couple of weeks. I think I've polished off 4. But Redshirts is about your classic Star Trek original series ensigns and yeomans.
It's kind of like Below Decks, the episode of TNG.
Yes, that's right. It is a variation of that, and also Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, characters who realize they're not the main characters.
Well, it's basically so in Star Trek, the Redshirts are the guys that go down to the planet and they get the liver stuck to their face and they die, while Spock and Kirk do not. Yeah. The book Redshirts is about these characters learning why they get hurt and the main guys do not.
It takes a joke in pop culture, a trope, and then expounds on it in a really interesting way.
And sorry, go ahead.
And it's exactly that. I mean, that's the plot description.
And what I love is that Scalzi goes all in. He pushes all his chips in. He doesn't do the. It turns out the shirt has some quality to it, or there's a lot of ways you could go down this. He goes full freaking meta on this.
It's a deconstruction of the trope, and not exactly. I mean, partly why stories are written that way, back referring to 1960s early 70s science fiction. And then, I mean, there is a point where we have to spoil.
I think we're right there.
We're right there.
Okay,
So,
so-
I mean, it is also, to recommend the book, a great gateway book, too, because it's not too long. It's if you're a fan of any
you can
type
polish it off in 3 hours.
If you like Galaxy Quest, this is a book for you.
Totally.
And it while it's essentially about Trek because red shirts are a Trek trope. Mm-hmm. I mean, it could apply to anything. Stargate, Firefly. Well, I mean not Firefly, but
and Scalzi worked on.
he worked on Stargate Universe.
Right.
He actually says it in the.
He says this is not about Stargate Universe.
This is. I'm not. And we'll explain why in a minute.
Well, so here's the spoiler. Do you want to?
Yeah, so...
Spoilers start now.
Spoilers start now.
Spoilers start
We'll
now.
see you
If
guys
you
next
want to
week.
read Red Shirts, don't listen further.
At one point in the book, the big turn is that they reference... They're on a ship called the Intrepid and the whatever Universal Union or something, which is clearly analog to the
UPN,
Federation. There is a character in the book who then does the research and realize that they refer to Star Trek. And that is... Like they're actually aware of the TV show Star Trek,
Right.
and then
When they go back through Earth's early history, or
yes, yeah, they go back to through because they're in the future, and they can analyze their own situation through the lens of actual Star Trek, the
to the
original
point
series.
that they literally do data analyses on rates of crew death, and,
Right,
and mission, all that stuff.
And what's really funny is if you actually look at, let's say, the first season of the original series, it's like every time the landing crew goes down, they're minus a crew member when they come back, and the book just starts to casually go through these figures. Like, do you realize in the last 9 missions they've lost 12 people?
Yeah.
Like that is insane.
And also what the main characters, their roles are
Right.
in telling a dramatic story. The main character who can't be expendable but must be hurt.
Right.
Why the captain and the bridge crew are on these away missions in the first place.
Or just the way science works in this universe. You get 90% of the way to the solution of a problem, come up, spout some gibberish, and then Spock says, oh, well, you just need to realign the Rasmuskeeters in order to get the phase, call it in line.
Literally the magic box.
The main character works in, is it in engineering?
Science.
Science. He works in
Science
science.
lab.
And the science lab eventually reveals to him that if he's approached by one of the big main characters for a solution, he is to promise it within an impossible amount of time. And at 90 minutes before that time, they go and get this black box, which will somehow solve the problem.
And it will give them the answer in just enough time for it to be dramatically interesting, the delivery of the response.
And at this point, when you're reading it, you're like, I'm really not sure where this is going. It's very peculiar.
And so it's really like when you read it. So I just read it the second time because I read it when it came out in 2012 and read it again when we started talking about this. The thing that's interesting about it is he sets it all up really well in the beginning. So when he introduces the 4 main characters, you have one that's the son of a rich kid, one of the son of an incredibly wealthy magnate, one who is
the main character.
One is the main character. One has another kind of interesting backstory, and then one has just absolutely no backstory whatsoever for no apparent reason. Like he's like.
The Sam Rockwell,
people, and it's like, oh yeah, and then this guy's over here,
Yeah.
and like the setup when he first goes into the science lab and he's sitting there and he's talking to people and he turns around and everybody's gone. He's like, where the hell did everybody go? And then the dramatic moment happens, right? It's all, the whole story is told. And you can see it coming from a mile away, but the first time you read it, you have no idea what to expect, and it is absolutely a delightful experience.
And to be clear, sorry, you were going to say something.
Oh no, I was going to say like the characters approach their situation with logic, in possibly illogical situation. The way
impeccable logic,
and the way they reconcile that is then through the lens of not just narrative fiction but television fiction.
And the logic and the weird logic of television fiction, which they're able to apply to the universe it turns out they're in. So what they realize is they are in a universe that is created by a television show that is occasionally dictated by that television show. So that show is in 1 hour spurts, and occasionally for an hour at a time, the universe of Star Trek gets affected, and everyone says things they don't believe, and things happen that
Memories
are totally crazy.
pop in,
Memories and
and the rules change. They don't know why they behave that way, and then everything goes back to normal. Which is a great conceit because it's not always Star Trek,
right?
And the main characters at least, don't realize that they're being influenced by some writer in the past writing their television show.
It's interesting because the universe, when it's not under control of the narrative, which is the force of the story that the characters discover, is that it's otherwise a logically consistent universe where things behave as they should and work as you would expect.
But occasionally
things get bonkers.
So they figure out a way to use the time travel idiocy of one of the plot points in order to actually go through a wormhole.
And yes, that's right. And confront their creators.
They go to Earth. They literally go to Hollywood, and they go and find the showrunner.
They find the actor, the showrunner,
The writer.
and a writer.
It's very much that Star Trek Voyager episode where they go back in time and falls in love with Sarah Silverman, Tom Paris.
Oh, I didn't know. I never saw that.
Which is a classic trope.
Who wouldn't fall in love with Sarah Silverman? I asked you.
Speaking of,
in all Star Treks, you go back to the time. There was a time travel episode where you go back to the era in which that show was written, which is how they know to go back to that era.
Right.
Right.
I mean, in
It's
Star
like
Trek
part of
4,
the-
they go back to 1986, the
That's
year the
right.
movie was written.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And so all of this, once they get back to Hollywood, they have to explain this.
They have to convince them.
They have to convince them. But Scalzi doesn't waste a lot of your time with people being inordinately stupid. One of the things I like about Scalzi is all his characters find their intelligence. He likes smart people, and I love that. Like, I love Vince Gilligan,
You rarely have the moment where somebody makes a dumb decision, and that's what the hinge that the plot turns on.
Exactly. But there is a lovely convention at the end that I found incredibly moving, in which one of the characters from the universe that the Star Trek is created in has lost his wife. Mm-hmm. And he meets the actress that played his wife back on Earth and ends up with this lovely sense of closure.
Well, he doesn't, but somebody else does.
Oh, that's
and
right.
he tells the story of that woman.
Right.
Yep.
And they go back to the place that they met, that they were on Earth in the fictional future.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
it's really sweet.
There's a great point where they bring one of the main crew members, Kerensky, that's the science officer, with them.
He's the guy who always gets hurt.
Who always gets hurt. And,
But healed. He gets hurt, but healed.
and healed. And he has a bond with the actor who plays him.
Yes.
In a way. And both that. There's a really touching moment where one of the crew members on the show in their future universe dies, but then when they go back to the past, they find him as a bartender, and there's a nice closure, and he was an extra, and there's a nice closure moment, and that combined with this Coda story you're talking about with Jenkins and his wife, the extra who just happened to play the wife at the funeral, says this really cool meta narrative of what fans of shows and what actors imbue on the characters. Even if
really
you're
smart, yeah.
on a show for, when we go to conventions and we meet celebrities who play, our favorite characters, we want them to be those characters, because even if they played the character for 7 seasons or just one episode and was an extra, what they bring to it, even in that 5 minutes of screen time, is their personality, their nuances.
And he really pays homage to that in terms of what that really means in this long tail of his fictional universe. And I found myself reading that coda about Jenkins. And
Yes,
his wife,
Jenkins' wife, yeah.
And being like, Scalzi, you romantic, you.
Oh, he's really sweet. I mean, he is, for a guy who writes like military near future sci-fi, is what he's known for is the old man's war stuff, and then everything else is wonderful.
And that coda is it's from the perspective of that woman who she's not in the story a lot, and the actress who played the wife who died, and her identity crisis of like, what is her relationship to this character who had a full narrative life, but she gave that person life in her one day of shooting, playing a dead body and the wife, and is it reincarnation? What is that relationship? And then it nicely dovetails to her meeting the writer. And that was the sweetest thing.
I agree. I totally agree. I was very moved by that. I wasn't expecting to be moved so much at the end of such a fun. I mean, I wouldn't say silly, but there is a silly sense of humor to the book.
It's light, not in terms of narrative or dramatic sense, but it's a fast, easy, fun read.
It's also like we were saying, he doesn't take any easy way out. It's rigorous. I mean, he figures out how to grid on top of this reality, and he rigorously holds to it.
So I was listening to the Untitled Rothfuss podcast the other day, which is just wrapped up. It's a wonderful, wonderful show if you haven't listened to it. They talked about what makes good science fiction, and part of it is that there's a logically consistent internal narrative.
Yeah.
And part of the thing that appeals to a lot of people who read genre fiction is that figuring out that internal, that logical consistent world is the fun of the book, right? Is
Yeah.
a lot of the fun of the book. That's why a lot of genre fiction doesn't have to have lovely prose in order to be successful. It's you're kind of taking apart this puzzle.
It's like a different part of your brain is activated.
Yeah. And I think that this is a really wonderful example of this because he doesn't take the there's a million places that he could have taken shortcuts, and he literally takes the most difficult, most challenging way out of the whole thing. And I absolutely love this book. It's
I
wonderful.
totally did.
Yeah. Have you casted it?
I haven't, although I know Chris Pine belongs in there.
I think Chris Pine's the rich kid. The rich
I just
kid.
Well, actually, that character has no point. They lead it off, and then that's the only loose thread where he's like, "What is your story?" And then he's like, "Everything's gonna be all right."
Now the wife, Jenkins' wife. In my head, I saw her as the actress who plays the Bajoran on Deep Space Nine.
Oh,
who was also in Swimming with Sharks.
oh my god,
Kira
Nerys is the name of the character, and
The actress's name, come on. She's amazing. She's in Swimming with Sharks. She's been in a ton of...
So good.
You know, it doesn't hold up.
Really?
Yeah,
I
just watched it a couple years ago with Julia, and it's not quite.
So Jenkins, the character who ends up being the lead writer,
Yeah.
I see as T.J. Miller. He's a comic relief, wild man.
Yeah.
It has to be somebody with like long hair.
Yeah, T.J. from Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
comedy.
he's
Right. I see Andy Dahl, the main character, main extra. I see is Justin Long.
Martin Starr has to be in there somewhere.
Who's Martin Starr?
Martin Starr is the other misanthrope from Silicon Valley with the beard.
Yeah, Jenkins could also be Martin Starr.
Yeah, totally. Completely.
I see
the straight dark hair guy.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
yes.
He was also in Party Down, which if you haven't watched, one of the great shows.
It's good.
The crew member who dies and then they meet him in the bar, I really see as like a Jason Segel or a Paul Rudd character.
Yeah, totally. Completely.
Yeah,
so this kind of thing they could knock out in a day.
Yes, exactly. Be funny, but then also have a nice heart to heart.
I think you could literally pull the cast of Galaxy Quest and put them on the bridge.
And I got Kerensky, Alan Tudyk.
Oh,
Yeah, Alan
nice.
Tudyk is
well
Alan Tudyk
done.
as a Kerensky.
Yeah, totally right. Totally right. And Galaxy Quest slots right in there.
Yeah.
I think our work is done here.
Yeah,
Get
I
out
think
and make red shirts, people.
What
Well, it's gonna be an FX show. It was gonna be we're gonna turn it into a TV series on FX, and I don't know.
I don't know how you'd turn that into a.
Well, it would be. I think
It would
the
be a limited
conceit,
run, yeah.
Right,
the conceit would be there, but not the exact story. I would love to see it as a straightforward movie.
Yeah.
like I think here's the thing. Lower Decks is one of my favorite Trek episodes because it tells a story that you don't expect to see. And I think that there's an interesting story about what it's like to live day to day in the future.
Yeah.
For normal
Even in the
people.
utopia.
Even in the utopia, yeah. That'll do it for us this week. Thank you guys for watching. We will be back next week with another episode of Still Untitled.
Ahmed, we'll see you soon.
Hopefully, yeah.
Clocks.
Keep making stuff.
Keep making stuff. Don't stop.
A little bit of housekeeping.
We have a live show.
Coming up.
Live show coming up in
October
San Francisco.
23rd.
We also have something new to announce.
Which is?
We're going to do 2 podcasts on Alcatraz
Yes,
on
we
the
can.
27th.
That's going to be very exciting. One of San Francisco's, if you've never been to San Francisco, you should come to San Francisco. But if you come to San Francisco and you're wondering what to do and you're a couple months out, go to Alcatraz. It is truly one of those incomparable tourist attractions. It's an amazing thing to see.
Do the audio tour. You know who's never been to Alcatraz?
I've never been to Alcatraz.
Man, you know I've escaped from Alcatraz.
I know. I heard.
You know what the exciting... I have some good news for you on this one, Adam.
What's that?
We're doing Still Untitled. We're doing 2 episodes that night. You can take the boat to and from the island.
Oh, good. I don't have to actually paddle away. Very
you
nice.
don't have to make your own raft, and you don't have to paddle across the bay and so.
Can we do it from inside of one of the Anglin Brothers cells?
I think we're gonna do it. in the cafeteria.
I'm sure
Setting
we'll
us up
be
in the
able
Which is a very
cafeteria on
spooky
stage.
place.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see all the cutouts of the knives on the wall, and I think we'll probably talk about you escaping from Alcatraz.
Yeah, sure.
And then the other one we're
2 episodes. Anyway, find out more about our shows for our October live show. Testedtheshow.eventbrite.com is where you can get tickets, and then we'll have more information in the description below.
exactly. See you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.
Today's episode was brought to you by Wix.com. Used by 60 million people throughout the world, Wix.com empowers business owners to create their own professional websites. With the drag and drop builder and hundreds of designer-made templates to choose from, you can get your website live today. It's easy and free. Go to Wix.com and create your stunning website today.
And today's episode was also brought to you by Skillshare. Don't forget, with Skillshare, you can explore thousands of online classes in design, photography, business, and more. Learn from the world's best teachers on your own schedule and join a learning community of over 1 million creators. With real projects and feedback from the Skillshare community, it's like being in a real class, but on your own time. Classes can even be watched offline with the Skillshare mobile apps on both Apple and Android devices. Go to Skillshare.com and get 3 free months with the discount code Untitled at checkout for new customers. Thanks, Skillshare, for your support of Still Untitled. Skillshare.com, creativity for everyone.
And see you guys next week.
Bye.